Okay, welcome back, guys, to the channel. My name is Jim, and this is the my geopolitics channel. We talk about geopolitical and exopolitic events going on. What other people don't really talk about, but we're as I said, we've been infiltrated by not just worldly cabal, but this is a cabal that's been around a long time. And they always creep into the councils and committees, and basically just take over your world. It's been going on since the first mistake happened, so this is nothing new. And with that, you get a lot of jealousy and bitterness, neighbors, and this is the reason why we have wars, because we forgot how to make our own stuff. So we got to take from others, and that creates jealousy. It creates all these other vices and wars and robberies and murders and all that, because we want more of what we hope that what we used to have. Anyways, that's a little bit more, for people that want to understand a little bit more why these things happen, but. Let's look at some of the things that's been going on for the last week. Haven't made a video in about a week or so. I was going to do a live stream, but I have sometimes I screw up a lot, and I gotta go back and fix everything. But I'm gonna try to make this one a little bit. U.S. lifts Iran oil sanctions. Oh, Trump was glad about that, or else we would have probably even higher prices on fuel. So the U.S. finally lifts Iran oil sanctions, and now Iran can sell their oil a little bit better in the world stage. It's right in the middle of a war. It's like one of those things. It's like, we're gonna bomb you, but we're gonna release enough so you make me look good at home, because I gotta look good, because I got another election coming up real soon, right? That's what's going on there. Iran targets Diego Garcia Island with a 2,400 mile range missile, which is Iran says that they don't have such a capacity yet, and this is probably one of those false flag operations that we've seen so many times before. September 11th, you name it. There's a bunch of them. Look it up. Get yourself informed about false flag events, things that happen. Perhaps the bombing of the girls' school in Iran, in order to create a conflict, and somehow things go their way. To make things go there, it's plan ahead, basically. That's what a false flag event is. Iran says that they don't have 2,400 mile range missiles, which would have put pretty much most of Europe and just about within London's reach of a missile. However, Iran declined that they had such a thing. Like I said, a false flag event most likely taking place there. The range is just going to increase little by little. Within time, it's just going to be a big range. Israel bombs oil field in Iran. Terrible thing to do. Yeah, they're in war and this and that, but what happens is now what's going to happen is Iran is going to bomb Israel oil fields, and you don't want to. We Americans and the whole world uses oil fields. Okay, so Israel bombs an oil field in Iran, basically means that Israel has become the enemy of the world, because it's going to increase prices left and right, and people are not going to have it's going to increase prices. It's going to create a lot of problems for a lot of people, not just Iran, not just the U.S., but it's going to create problems for everybody in the world because people are so dependent on burning oil for energy. And this is a terrible thing to do because now it's going to escalate, and Iran is probably going to come back and, okay, you did that to us. We'll get some of your oil fields also, and see how that feels. Now they're not. Do you think Israel's going to have any fuel for even their ambulances and so forth? Jeez, it's a terrible thing to have. Trump started a terrible thing without any. I don't think he ever had any mature people that he can talk to. He's got the General Keane and a bunch of other bozos that surround him, and they're all cons, just to create a big war and without thinking of the consequences. And unfortunately, you got those people in Washington passing laws and sending bombs, other people's ways without using their minds, their brains. Coming soldiers on the ground, supposedly from the United States. I think we got something like 10 or 15,000 on the way or there nearby already. Not on the ground and anywhere yet, but we still have some. And you need a lot if you really want to capture a country like Iran. You need 500,000, a million perhaps, and the U.S. just doesn't have that. Plus, we have a bunch of women in the military, and they're not very. Sorry, they're not very good. They're not very good at combat. Of course, we let them in. You gotta let the women in, and this and that. This is all ideas from these people, from these councils. They come up with these crazy ideas, and we've been under these ideas for the last 150 years or so. Ever since they started sending school kids to schools in the United States, we've been on our way down, basically. Of course, Trump demanded that Iran open up the strait, and he continues his rhetoric about the 47 years that Iran has been doing this and that and all kinds of trouble. They're maniacs, and he continues repeating himself over and over and over, and everybody else repeats it like parrots. I remember the September 11th, the terrorist thing. It was because of terrorism. Everywhere, everybody in government was talking about the terrorism. There's a video out there in the YouTube if you ever want to check it out. How many millions of times this word was repeated until people said, "Okay, it's terrorism. We gotta go in there and get what was that? Some invasion. I forget which one they went in first. But now it's the same. They repeat the same thing. Caitlin, Marco, Pete, Mr. Pete, they all repeat the same thing. The same thing that comes out of Trump's mouth, parroting what he says. They also repeat the same thing, because that's the only thing they can do, because they probably don't know better. I don't think they know any better, these folks. Europe may face a lot of perhaps starvation in some places, and no fuel, no gas. Zelensky blew up a pipe from Russia not too long ago, a few days back. That creates a vacuum, and that creates, Europeans are dependent on Russia pretty much, and the gas pipes, gas that they use to heat their homes and all that. That's kind of, I don't know if he has done that yet, Putin, of switching his pipelines to the southeast part of of Asia, and taking it away from Europe. Then Europe is they're going to have a big problem, huge problem. they're not going to be able to heat their homes. In the region, we're going to have new players, and we have already, that Yemen joins the fight now, and it's beginning to escalate a little bit more. Most of these Gulf states don't have, especially like Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Yemen, Oman, and Saudi Arabia. They don't have militaries. They have some military equipment and things, but they're not. They haven't been building any military because they have trusted the United States to put bases in their land, and that's what Iran is bombing, their bases. Not that they're bombing their country. Apparently, once in a while, they take out hotels, and they said they're going to take out hotels where the soldiers, the enemy soldiers are, and where people from the enemy countries are targets. So Iran is honest. I hate to say it, but they're honest about this. To talks. And here's Trump saying that we're in negotiations and we're in talks and this and that. He said that many times. And at first it was going to be 7 days, that they have 7 days. Now he extended it to 10 days. And you better give up. You better give up the Strait of Hormuz. And little by little, it's going to just... Eventually, I think what's going to happen, Trump is just going to say, we won. We decimated their military, and we have nothing else to do in the region, and so we're bringing our boys back home. We're coming back home, and things are going to be greater. It's going to be a little tougher for a little while, but he's just going to pull out, I think, because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to carry this on to the next election, and that's all he's looking for. To be reelected. He wants to do this now, and not do it afterwards. It may, according to him, it's like he either does it now or he's not going to be president again the next time around. And I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to pull back and say we won and blah blah blah, even though the media. He's using the anger that, for instance, that I have against the media. They're all a bunch of liars. They all work for the same part, but over here they've taken over the MAGA. What do you call it? The party or whatever the ground roots. The roots movement from MAGA. Which is basically has been taken over, from what I understand, by a couple of those people. They take over. They take over everything. They, like I say, they take over the councils, and then they become the owners of it. And then they're telling everybody else all the white people what to do, right? These guys continue. Some of these Keane and some of these people, they think that Kharg Island is going to be compared to Iwo Jima, which is an island. I don't know, 50,000 people were killed in that the battle for that island in order to control Japan, basically. And this is not the same thing. This is just a little island with a bunch of oil tanks and some pipelines and things like that, but it's not a strategic place. Although if you you don't want to destroy that infrastructure in that island, because that'll stop the oil flowing into the world. It's not just the U.S., but the whole world is going to be affected by it. This is where tankers I think it's about 11 of them sit at one point, all together being fueled up at the same time, loaded up, and probably fueled up at the same time with the oil from Iran. And that's a lot of oil going into the ships. However, if that stops, that's gonna put a big dent on oil prices, and people are not going to be able to drive anymore. It's going to be unaffordable to get a pizza delivery. And some of you guys, you're not going to be able to watch your football games with your pack of beer because it's going to be too expensive. Going out to picking up groceries and things like that, it's just going to be something that you do probably once a month. A lot of us are not going to be able to afford a car if they blow up that island. And supposedly we're going to send 10,000 soldiers, and then everything's going to be. It has. I mean, Trump just we'll send 10,000 soldiers. Send 5,000 more. Put 2 more. That should do it. It's not. You got logistics, and you got these people have to be. They're not machines. And he looks at this. He wasn't in the military. I've never been in the military, but I know enough that he just don't. You don't call Uber and say, hey, bring some soldiers over to Kharg Island and expect that to be there within 10 minutes. The logistics, the food supplies, medical, these people have to be fed. They have to be the ammunition, all that, and it takes a lot of freaking effort. It's not just something that you dream up and it's done. No, it's got to be thought up. It's got to be planned, and this takes planning. It takes a situation room. You got to be in a situation room in order to get these things done. I'm in the Israeli situation room. I mean, this is what you need. Isn't this fun? Israel, yay! Now you can't say anything bad about me. You guys know me. You know what I'm up to. Okay. Now, we talk about Iwo Jima. It's not the same thing. This is a totally different thing. And, you blow up we're going to be in trouble. Either way, it's going to happen because these people that have taken over Israel, they're psychopaths. Netanyahu and all these leaders, they've taken over just like the United States has been taken over. The psychopaths in that religion or whatever, and our religion, too, the so-called Christian Zionists, they call them. We've been taken over by psychopaths. That's simple as that. I know the United States. It's been like that with the presidents. I've seen every president that comes in. It's like, this guy's unbelievable. This guy is unbelievable. Every president that goes in there, I say to myself, they have no shame. Psychopaths have no shame. So, and they handshake each other. They know each other for some reason, and they like to have those kinds of people. They like to be surrounded with themselves, the psychopaths, because they don't want to hear anything from the outside. They don't want to hear any reason. They don't like to hear reason. They just like to feel good about themselves. It goes back to the original mistakes that happen in the in the universe. Okay, payments to be made in yuan, in the Chinese yuan, or cryptocurrency. And from what I heard is Bitcoin Cash, cryptocurrency, BCH, and they want $2 million for each tanker that goes by. That's a lot of money, but they gotta, hey, why not? If they're going to be coming out of there safe, perhaps why not? I don't think the United States could guarantee that. I don't think Israel's going to guarantee it. Saudi Arabia is not going to guarantee it. Nobody's going to guarantee it because there's nobody there. The only one there is going to be Iran, and they're not bad people. Even though Trump says that they're a bunch of maniacs, and I don't see it that way. I don't. They're very reasonable people, probably more reasonable than anybody else. Yeah, we're in the Situation Room, guys. As you can see here, we're in Central Command to see what how Israel has been taken over by psychopaths. I really feel the other day I was watching this video just to finish this off, but I was watching this video of Israeli people getting bombed, and you feel bad for them. They're yelling, they're lamenting on the streets. Oh no, Iran, please don't rain your fire on us, this and that. Have mercy, have mercy. They're yelling like that. They say this is the only place that we have. This is our only land that we have. And the thing is that this thing going on in Gaza, for instance, it's like, okay, yeah, but where were you guys? Obviously you vote for these psychopaths, right? Why is this guy in office such a long time? And they've been taken over. These people, I feel so sorry for them. But then again, it's like, how about those little girls in that school? Who the hell bombed that? The psychopaths. And like Bill Ward said, only bombers can open bomb bays. Check out that song. It's Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. Only bombers can open bomb bays. And it takes a psychopath to open up a bomb bay on a little girl's school. And the same thing with we have our own brand of psychopaths. It's like, the U.S. Lincoln and Ford. I think there's been some mutinies going on in those two. They don't want to fight for Israel. What the hell? They joined to fight for the U.S. They don't want to join and fight for Israel. What the fuck is this? What is this? Well, this comes from Lord Rothschild, by the way. He was instrumental in starting Israel. And this comes back all the way to 1900. I forget the guy's name. That Israel needed to be... It had to be right there in the center. Why can't they just go to freaking, I don't know, New Zealand or something, in some little, how about Wyoming? There's no one there. They could go there, but no, it's got to be right in the center of the whole. Yeah. That's it for this little briefing. I should have done it live. It didn't go too bad. It's just that some days I really, really screwed things up. Boy, oh boy. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna... Okay, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll see you soon. Bye.